Hi everyone, it's your boy Zach, and this is my third video on my first day. No, this is not going to be the standard pace of 3 videos a day. It's just that I don't want a channel that just has one video, you know what I mean? So the idea is that people find it, and it's already got a couple of videos, and you can kind of decide if you want to subscribe or not. So let me tell you about my friend Bronson Ives. Now, that's not his real name, and it's kind of weird to call someone a friend when you never hang out with them. So let's just say Bronson Ives is someone I've known for a long time. And he's a very, very interesting case because he's basically the person that taught me about investing, wealth, that your time is money, that money you spend on Instacart or Grubhub might not actually be wasteful, and that those fees might actually be the best use of your money at that time, depending on what you're doing that day. So when I told Bronson that I was going to be mentioning him on the video, he was very, very excited, and he started spinning about some lore about himself, saying that his home smells of brandy and rich mahogany. He has many leather-bound books about finance and Victorian era customs, and collects embroidery of old. It's not true. That's a persona. But that is who I think of when I think of someone called Bronson Ives. Bronson Ives is an investor who became an investor by accident, essentially. I asked him, I said, you've been an investor for a while. Was it a conscious decision to become an investor? And he says, no, it happened. It happened naturally. It happened by effectively just being curious. And it reminded me of a story he told me one time, is that at one time he heard the name of some sort of earthworm. And being, starting middle age, he became obsessed that he had come to this age, of the beginning of middle age, and he had never heard of one type of, earthworm, essentially, you would go fishing with. And so he told me he literally spent an entire night learning every single thing he could about this earthworm. And even when he tells the story, he gets very tense. And I'm like, what's the big deal? I can't name every animal. He's like, but there's not like a type of animal you don't know of. It's not like you got to your 40s and you never heard of aardvarks. You know what I mean? And if you did, it would be very disconcerting. It's like, who else knows about aardvarks? Well, everyone. Well, what's wrong with me? So what I'm saying is he has a very intense need for knowledge, basically compulsion. And it disconcerts him when he is not at least aware of something. This trend, and I've talked on my other channel about dealing with OCD, and it got really bad earlier this year, and it's getting better now that I'm getting my books out that are late. And I was reading, I was doing research because I was trying to deal with it. And someone said, you look at this as a problem that you want to eliminate, but it's just another part of your personality. Even though you have a lot of problems from this OCD, you probably have a lot of successes. Now, I would definitely not say my friend has OCD, but he does get fixated on things. And in this case, it was something relatively benign, not having heard of a common worm that people use when they go fishing. But it was the concept that other people knew something as common knowledge and he did not. And that really, really bothered him. And then he was able to intensely focus and learn about this earthworm. Now you might say, this sounds like a crazy person. Let's just say eccentric. But he's very, very successful because that eccentricity, that need to know things, and when you find out that you have knowledge that is missing, the need to intensely research something, that is to me the ideal investor. Now, I have the advantage of having this person as a friend. So when all of a sudden I hear about some, emerging tech and a company that is, the front runner, my friend will spend 2 or 3 days researching everything about this company, the technology, its competitors. So I benefit from that. Now, I told my friend about this channel, and he was very, very, very excited. And we both had a similar idea. He told me his idea, and I said, yeah, he said, don't ever give a stock tip. Don't mention an ETF, a mutual fund, a type of crypto ever. Because once you recommend something and it does terrible, you're going to lose all your credibility. Now, when I first started investing, he would give me specific stocks, but not because he wanted to, because I would basically just bother him. I was like, just stop trying to teach me these basic concepts. Just give me a stock and I'll buy it. And some of them did good and some of them didn't. And to which I got butthurt and I said, you know what? Screw you. I'm just going to pick my own stuff. He's like, that's what you should have been doing from the beginning. You know, when we have a conversation about fishing worms, you know, for 20 minutes, and this guy gets super emotional, it's not about the fishing worms. It's about the concept of not knowing something that everyone else knows about, even if they don't think about it, being bothered by that and deciding, I'm not just going to know about it, I'm going to become an expert in it. The other point is how quickly you can gain a lot of knowledge. I'm trying to, you know, fix up the yard here. And 2 weeks ago, all I knew is that there's dirt and there's grass, and sometimes poop helps the grass grow. But then if the dog pees too much, then it hurts the grass. I also knew the word nitrates. Now, I can tell you the difference between stolons and rhizomes. I don't know if I'm pronouncing those correctly, but I know the difference. Stolons are these vines that grow along the surface, and they basically spread the grass. Rhizomes are the same thing, but they're underneath the surface. And I mean, literally 3 weeks ago, I was picking the stolons out of the grass because I go, oh, look at this weed. It's literally how the grass reproduces. So once I realized that I was doing the opposite of what I was supposed to be doing, I got really angry at myself, and I really intensely, you know, I can tell you, you know, about Floritam, and, you know, I can tell you why freaking palm trees are trash. Everyone likes the idea of palm tree. Unless you're on a tropical island, just don't plant them. It's going to be a freaking disaster. But my friend, who is fairly eccentric, and the other thing about him is I used to think he was lazy, like incredibly lazy. Like it used to really, really bother me. I was like, why do you get deliveries for everything? Drive to the store, you lazy piece of shit. It took me so long after building a company to realize, you know, your most valuable resource is your time. And we're really going to talk about that when we talk about compound interest. But that extra $15 you spend to get delivered groceries, if you are doing something during that hour, it is worth way more than the $15 you spent. So his time is spent basically doing two things: relaxing, which involves, you know, enjoying dividends and the benefits of his successful investments. But a lot of it is resting, relaxing, and then intensely researching something. This is a guy who will just say, I'm going to rewatch every Marvel movie. Okay, cool, you're going to do that. And then 3 days later, he's like, I'm done. I'm like, bro, there's like 25 of those movies. He goes, yeah, all I did for 3 days is watch those movies. It's like, what are you going to do right now? Oh, well, I heard about this, you know, new stock and this new technology for, you know, freaking studying the human genome. So I'm just going to do a deep dive into the human genome for 3 days. So in a way, he's always stuck in one gear, being intense about something, even if he's intensely relaxing. He's going to watch every single Marvel movie that he's seen, most of them, but watch them in order of the continuity, because he was watching Scarlet Witch and there was one thing, a reference he didn't get. So he's like, well, you know what? I'll just rewatch all of them and then I'll have all that knowledge fresh. So this to me is kind of an ideal investor. I know most people don't have this personality type. I think the whole world would collapse if it did. But I bet you have a friend who has this personality type, and I'm pretty sure they're into investing. And if you just mention it, and they'll probably get into it. You know, it's kind of funny here down here in the border. I would swear that sometimes you can be at a restaurant and just be like, you know, there's no climbing gym here. You know, this city really needs a climbing gym. You know, one of those rock gyms, you know, you climb the wall. And you will literally watch like 4 people at nearby tables, like kind of cock their ear and then like go onto their phone. These people are business people. They're saying, is there a climbing gym? how much would it start? Apparently, there's a demand for it. One of the things I like about being down here is it's very, very industrious. There's a lot of business. There's a lot of, logistical business, and it's just a growth area. It's very, very exciting. So it's something to think about if you have a certain personality type where you're like, oh, I'm just a weirdo who's just reads old Dungeons and Dragons modules, and I like memorize, all the different, stats. You might have the makings of a very successful investor. So anyway, just to reiterate, I don't plan on ever mentioning specific stocks as a recommendation. I might talk about certain things in reaction videos, but the point is not to say, go buy this. Oh, don't buy this. Oh, you bought it. Why didn't you sell? I hate that, especially when they don't tell you to sell it. You told me to buy it, and then you didn't tell me to sell it, and now you're doing a video about how you sold it at the right time and you're doing great. Well, I didn't know. So it's not about saying, specific things. It's about talking about concepts and strategies that are going to help you with your investing and building wealth. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye.